Welcome to the Thought Boss Podcast. This is your host, Nicole. I'm here to show you that all the help you need is already inside of you and that you're far more powerful than you give yourself credit for. I'm glad you're here. Now let's turn you into a thought boss. Episode 8. It's a wonderful and equally terrible life. Hey guys, what's up? I am so excited to be back here podcasting because last week my family and I were on vacation. We went on a really fun camping trip up to the Oregon coast with my side of the family. And oh my goodness, it was so nice to be somewhere that was so beautiful. I grew up in Central Oregon and I have something in me, this need, this desire, very deep desire to be in the trees and the mountains. And this is exactly what that was. Just so much green everywhere. It was so good for my soul. But it is nice to be home and it's podcast day. Woohoo! So today we are talking about how life is 50% positive emotion and 50% negative emotion, and why that's completely necessary. And I learned this lesson from Brooke Castillo. That's where I first heard it. And I've listened to some stuff from Jody Moore on it too. And at first I was a little unsure about it. And I think most people are. They're like, what? Why do we have to have literally half of everything be negative emotion? Why is that necessary? Why can't we be happy 80% of the time and sad 20% of the time or something, right? So it's a very interesting thing to talk about. So I think that it's a really common misconception that if you're being coached or if you've hired a coach, that your goal is to eliminate any source of negative emotion. People think that when you hire a coach, it's because you want to be happy all the time. Or maybe you've hired a coach and you've thought, great, now I will finally be living my best life. Like I'm just gonna be happy all the time because I'm gonna know how to manage my mind and how to reach my goals. I'm just gonna be happy all the time. So actually, what's funny is that it's actually quite opposite. As a coach, I actually encourage all of my clients to lean into every emotion, and that includes the negative emotion. I want them to lean into the good and the bad emotions and really allow themselves to feel it. So this is really what leads to a full and inspiring and fulfilling life. So if someone asked you, do you want to be happy all the time? Maybe you'd say yes at first, right? It seems like that's the goal in life. But if somebody asked you after that, do you want to be happy? What about if you got fired from your job? Would you want to be happy about that? Or what if your close relative or your mother was diagnosed with cancer, heaven forbid? Would you want to feel happy in that situation? What if you lost your keys even? Just something small like that. Is happiness what's serving you? So the truth is there is a whole range of emotions for a reason. And the reason is that this is the human experience. We are designed to be emotional creatures. Happy, the emotion happy, remember our emotions, that's what drives us to action. Anytime we do something, it's because we feel a certain way, right? And we feel anything that we're feeling because of the thoughts that we're having. So when you're feeling happy, happy doesn't drive you to get things done. It doesn't help you process difficult things. It doesn't help you find your keys. You want to have other emotions available to you like confusion or concern or curiosity, anger, frustration, sadness, and determination. So when you think of it that way, it's easier to see how it might be helpful to have a whole host of emotions available to you. Now, something that I've learned that was hard to buy into at first is that life is 50-50. That is to say that 50% negative emotion and 50% positive emotion. Now, it's not an exact science, right? But in general, there's not really a way to add it all up. So the balance of 50-50, that balance is necessary because everything we experience, we're always comparing to other things that we've experienced. And the good things that happen are good because in comparison to the bad, they're more pleasurable or more desirable. They feel better. But if you felt good or happy all the time, if you felt happy and cheerful all the time, you wouldn't really be feeling cheerful, right? Because that would just become the new normal. That's just what you always are. There's nothing to compare it to. And your current state, it's just what you would be, right? So no negative means no positive either. Does that make sense? It's all just on a flat line. If you're always up in the clouds, it kind of starts to feel like the ground, right? So let's go for an example. To give you some perspective of how I see it, I'll share a little bit of my story with you. So I spent 4 years of my life in foster care in homes that were full of diverse experiences in feeling a lot of emotion. Now, my second foster home, I was so full of fear and tension and stress and worry all the time that when I went to my third foster home, it literally felt like paradise. To someone else, it probably would have seemed completely normal. So I woke up every morning without worrying about being yelled at or ignored or criticized. I got to pack a lunch and take it to school. I got to play freely. I was given my own room, and I was regularly talked to like an important human being. I literally felt like I was in heaven. I felt so valued and loved and appreciated. Now, this is just the way that this lady treated everyone. But because I had the contrast of my previous home, it being so filled with these negative emotions and experiences, my new home felt so wonderful. Without that contrast, I wouldn't have had that experience. Now, if I came into my new home after living in a mansion and having servants and a princess closet full of clothes, I may have felt deprived or ignored or frustrated and depressed, right? So the contrast of the two experiences is what gives anything a negative or a positive emotion. A productive day always feels great when you've spent a lot of time being lazy. And relaxing is really nice after you've spent a lot of time working. So life is 50-50. You know what I find interesting is that even though we know that this is necessary, it's interesting how we want to highlight all of the good things about our life. We only want to think about the good things, right? You go to Facebook or Instagram and you see posts of smiling people and vacations and clean rooms and graduation day, people achieving their goals, and everything looks awesome. It is all positive. But have you ever been to an art museum? Have you ever walked around and looked at all the Impressionist paintings and all these Victorian era paintings and seen, it's so interesting to look at the people in these paintings, right? What do you think would happen if you went to an art museum and every single picture or portrait of a person, they had this big happy smile on their face? You saw a woman, she's got a book in her hand and she's got a huge smile on her face. And you go to the next one, and it's a little kid and he's just got a big smile on his face. You get the picture, right? What if every single one of them was just smiling faces? Can you imagine? You would just move from one portrait to the next, oh, this is nice. Everyone's happy. Okay, cool. And then you're out of the museum in about 4 minutes because there's not much in there to think about or to ponder. It's not evoking emotion, right? So the kind of art we really like, or the kind of music we really like, or movies, is the kind of art that makes us feel something. It's the same reason that we watch dramatic movies. We as humans, we like to feel emotion. And especially when we're watching movies or art, we like to watch or we like to feel emotion without risking anything actually happening to us or happening in our own lives. We really like to feel emotion as humans. We like to feel varied emotion. It adds dimension and depth to our lives. It helps us form memories, and it creates lasting character traits in us. Happiness is not what builds character. Ease and peace do not drive someone to act in a way that changes their life or influences someone else or build an empire. There is so much growth and learning and progress in feeling all kinds of emotions. We were programmed with the ability to feel innumerable emotions. Now, just knowing that it's completely normal to feel 50% positive emotion and 50% negative emotion, just knowing that it's completely normal, that can give you some immense relief. Normally, what happens when we feel a negative emotion is we try very hard not to feel it. We resist letting it exist in our bodies. We think it shouldn't be there, that we shouldn't be feeling that way, and then we instantly try to change it. And that resisting is actually what makes the emotion so difficult to deal with. Imagine if you woke up one day on the wrong side of the bed. You just felt crummy. You're kind of down. You're not your normal, optimistic self, right? This feels like a bad day. So if you went throughout this day, just picture you doing your normal things, going to work and saying hi to people. You're probably going to be kind of grumpy and maybe like snappy at people. Maybe you're telling people that you're just having a really bad day. This is not a good day, right? Now, the reason that you're feeling grumpy about your bad day and snapping at people is because you believe that you're having a bad day and you shouldn't be. You believe that bad days shouldn't exist, or that if you're having a bad day, there's something wrong with you, or something just wrong in general. Something has gone terribly wrong if you're having a bad day. But what if you chose to believe that bad days are normal? And what if instead of resisting feeling sad or down or just plain grumpy, what if you just said to yourself, you know what? I guess today is just the day where I feel a little less happy. Or today is a day that I'm just going to be depressed. And what if you just let that depression or that sadness or grumpiness be there inside of your body, inside of your mind, without judging yourself and without trying to change it? Do you know what would happen? First of all, things throughout your day would be a lot simpler. Instead of feeling guilt and anxiety and frustration about having a bad day, which you're already feeling down, right? Then you pile on this guilt and this anxiety and this frustration because you think you shouldn't be having a bad day. So instead of just feeling down, you're feeling all this frustration. So if you didn't judge yourself, if you didn't try to change it, and you're just feeling kind of down, it's pretty simple. You just kind of go about your day and be like, hey, I'm just not feeling great today. Feeling kind of down. And that's totally okay. This is part of life, part of my life. It's totally fine. I'm going to let myself feel this way, and I'm going to trust that it's going to eventually go away, and I'm going to feel better, because it totally is, right? So the goal in life is not to avoid all pain and difficulty and depression. The point of life is to be here, to be present, to feel, to know what it is to be human. It's kind of relieving to know that whatever you're feeling is completely normal. And it is great to know that if you're not feeling great today, chances are, however you feel tomorrow will contrast with yesterday, and it will feel like a pretty good day. Okay, so now that I've talked about feeling negative emotion and how it's going to be present 50% of the time, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit, and I'm going to tell you how you can have real happiness 100% of the time. And it's not really 100%. It's more like probably 80 or 90, right? So here's what you do. You just choose to see the negative emotion as like this exciting part of your life. For instance, I'm growing my business. It's hard. It's trying. It's testing me. And at times it is so frustrating. But you know what's great about that? It means I'm probably doing it right. It means that I'm trying something new. I'm learning. I'm growing. And all of it is giving me some sort of experience. An experience is really great, right? Experience is what makes us experts at things. So instead of just feeling frustration, now I've layered a positive emotion on top of a negative one. And it's not to try not to feel the negative one. I'm feeling the negative one like frustration, but I'm also feeling this super great, exciting feeling like, hey, this is progress. I'm excited that I'm feeling this way. It's kind of thrilling, right? It gives purpose to your negative emotion, and it actually doesn't feel so bad. It's kind of this nice mix. Excuse me. So one thing about 50-50 is that we actually kind of can choose our 50-50 to an extent. So whether you're totally rich and you're running a huge successful company, or you're dirt poor, you're living on the street, or you're going through college eating ramen noodles, or you're spending your days at a terrible 9-to-5 but binging on Netflix at night, your life is still going to be 50-50, no matter who you are. Now, the couch potato will have maybe a more mild 50-50. The worst part of their day might be just getting up. Getting out of bed is like the worst part of their day. And the best part of their day might be the cookie dough ice cream they eat while they're binging on Stranger Things. Not that I'm speaking from experience. On the other hand, a big-time CEO who has started a company and done all these really hard things, they might have a positive, like signing a $1 billion deal. And they also are dealing with equally negative emotions, like when they let down a really big client. So the positive and the negative emotions are going to have a more dramatic contrast when you're trying to change, or you are purposely creating something that didn't exist in your life or in the world before. And those aren't the only two examples, but the point is, whether you're going for gold or sitting on the sidelines, your life is going to be 50-50. And you still get to choose if you want to purposely create your life or if you just want to react to everything that comes your way. Now, if you're a parent, this also applies. This has been really interesting to add this to our parenting. So we naturally want our children to, have everything we didn't have as a child and have all these opportunities and go to the best school and have the best friends and get all the awards and scholarships. And we want our kids to be happy all of the time, right? If you ask a parent, what do you want for your kid? Probably 95% of the time, they're going to say, I just want them to be happy. So when our kids are down, we try to cheer them up. We give them ice cream or something. We tell them, don't cry. We tell them to be happy. We tell them to think positive, and we try endlessly to fix all of their problems. So learning about the 50-50 rule has been one of the most incredible things that has ever come in contact with my parenting. It is, first of all, incredibly relieving to realize that you're not responsible for making your child happy, and you're not responsible for fixing all of their problems. Their problems don't need fixing. And it's also so great to not try to cheer them up or calm them down, ever, really. For me, now instead of trying to fix all my children's negative emotion, I just help them feel it. I help them recognize what emotion they're feeling, and then I ask them, where is this in your body? What does it feel like in your body? Where is it? Is it in your stomach? Is it in your head? Is it in your heart? What color would it be if it was a color? What shape would it be? What texture would it be? And that just gets them to be present and to feel it. And then I let them know that it is 100% okay. It's totally okay for them to feel however they're feeling. And I encourage them to feel that for as long as they need to. And it has been so incredible, especially for my oldest son. He has stopped feeling so much, or I have at least have noticed he has stopped feeling so much shame and guilt, which are not really useful emotions. He doesn't feel shame or guilt for being angry or frustrated or sad or having a bad day. And I can see him processing the emotion, and he ends up getting through it so much quicker and learning from it, right? So you guys, if you are a parent, this is a game changer. The key in feeling emotion of any kind is to not judge it. When you don't judge how you're feeling, then you allow it to be there. And when it's okay to be there, it runs its natural, healthy human emotion course. This is not just some woo-woo, right? Emotions actually exist in your body. They scientifically exist. When you think a thought, there are hormones in your body that send the message to your body to feel a certain way, right? And when you try not to feel that certain way, it just makes it harder. But when you literally allow that energy to run through you, you start to realize that it's really not so bad. So adding this to my parenting has been amazing. The experience that you give your children by helping them to feel all their emotions, the negative and the positive ones, that is really preparing them for a fulfilling and really happy and successful life. Happy in the way that is the deepest, right? Not just like a surface level cheeriness, but where they feel like they're really in their lives, right? And that it's totally okay. So if we try to go through life not feeling any negative emotion, never taking any risks or putting ourselves out into the world, we are really missing out on a whole host of positive emotion that is available to us in the world. If we never try to get that job we want, or we never want to have children because that's scary and they leave eventually and they break your heart, or if we never write down and start going for all of our goals, we're not living our lives. We're missing them. We're missing out on all the negative emotion that we would feel, but we're also giving up all of the positive emotion that we would feel by going down these difficult paths. So negative emotion is essential to our lives, and so is positive emotion. And really feeling them is what gives you this sense of fulfillment. It enriches your life to feel your emotions and to recognize that things are going to be 50-50 and that it's totally okay. When you lean into that, when you trust that 50-50 is just the human experience, things get a lot smoother. So what I encourage you to do is the next time that you're having a hard time or you find negative emotion, that you try to see where it is in your body. And I talk a little bit more about this in one of my first episodes about feeling your feelings. But when you recognize that your negative emotions don't have to be changed instantly, you kind of relax. And when you relax, you let them go through you, and you recognize that the worst thing that can happen to you is a feeling. And the best thing that can happen to you is also a feeling. So I encourage you to go throughout your day and recognize when you're trying to not feel a negative emotion and just choose to feel it anyway. And the next time that something great happens, I want you to stop. And instead of eating to celebrate or watching a movie to celebrate, try to just feel that emotion. And I promise you that trusting in the 50-50 framework, in knowing that half of your life is going to be full of positive emotion and the other half is negative emotion, and it's all mixed together, is going to really free you up to be present in your life. Okay, guys, I am so excited for the next podcast episode, which is silly, but it's going to be awesome also. So I hope that I will see you there. As always, if you have any questions, or if you would just like to know more about this work, please visit me on Instagram. I am Thought Boss Coaching there, and I really share a lot of super helpful tips, and I love to connect with the community, which is you. So I love you. I'm so glad you're here today, and I'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. For more help with specific problems, visit thoughtbosscoaching.com to sign up for a free coaching consultation to see if coaching is right for you. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.